So how are you finding workload? Because you do have a lot of different jobs, right? So
Yeah.
on a given month, say, in a
Yeah.
given month,
Hmm.
how would you describe your schedule? Are you
Yeah.
overworked? Do you have time for yourself? Like, give us an overview of what the life is like for
That's
Bridget.
such a good question.
Yeah.
No one's ever asked me if I'm overworked, so I
Well,
appreciate
they should
it.
be. Yeah, absolutely. It's a
Um,
huge concern, right?
yeah, and as freelancing comes with a lot of stress.
Yeah.
You're stressed when you're really busy, and you're stressed when you're not.
Yeah. We
And
were talking before briefly about how even when you're freelancing, your days off, you're still looking for work. So is it really a day off?
no,
Right?
and
So,
I always say as a freelancer, because I've been freelancing full time for 5 years, is that you have to put in the work to get work.
yeah.
So those
Exactly.
days off, you have to, in some capacity, do something work related so that you
Yeah.
can find those jobs. So one of the things that I've been really, really blessed in the past couple of years too is being hired on by really big networks and streaming partners to be their on-set producer. And so I'd say on average, it's once or twice a month. I am working on an EPK production for Hallmark Channel usually.
Oh, wow.
Or yeah, I've worked with Netflix and Apple TV Plus as well.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm usually really pumped for these days, because I get to spend 2 to 3 days on set to shoot these EPKs, which are electronic press kits. So I interview the actors that are part of the series. We're talking about the new season, the new show, or the new movie.
That's such a dream.
It's so fun.
Right? Like that must be so comfortable for you too, like with all your experience. Yeah.
It's so much fun. And then I have my team to go on and shoot B-roll and whatnot. So it's the planning. So the pre-production and then on set and the post-production. And then every week I have CHCH whenever Cineplex needs me, which right now is like they're pretty good
Yep. Yep.
on their own. And then the branded partnerships take a long time to execute too. So you know what? The good thing is I really like to work.
Yeah.
I love
totally.
it. Yeah.
Because you're doing something you love.
Exactly.
Which helps, right?
Yeah.
When you're doing the old expression, if you're doing something you love, it
That's
doesn't
it.
really feel like work all the time.
That's
it can be busy and taxing on you at times, but
Yes.
it's something you genuinely love. So
Exactly.
That's really good.
So there are moments where I feel like I'm being overworked
Yeah.
because I'm so overwhelmed. But I'd rather be overwhelmed than
Yeah.
underwhelmed.
What would be something you would consider like the best piece of advice you received?
Ooh, there's been so much advice. Okay, one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received, and I kind of apply this in my personal and professional life, is that never take advice from miserable people.
Yeah.
And
Because you would never go to them for advice.
you would never go to them for advice, but sometimes you might. I don't know. Sometimes you forget that
Yeah.
they're probably not the best person, even though they're your closest friend or family member. You just kind of have this
right.
unspoken trust in them.
Okay.
But if they're not happy with what they're doing, or how they're doing it, or where their career is going, you should never, ever take their advice to heart.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I think about now. Ever since a friend of mine told me that, this was years ago, I'm very strategic with who I air my grievances to or ask advice from, all that.
Yeah. Have you noticed as we get older that I know it's
Sigh.
not like we're ready to go into the old age home yet.
No,
but,
no.
We'd be good friends in an old age home, I think.
Yeah. We'd have to have a
We'd
mic in our
play
hands.
Baccarat. I don't know.
Mahjong?
Yeah, Mahjong. Yeah. No, have you noticed though, as the years go by, that you really do? You're much more selective with friendships and just people, because you realize your time is just so much more valuable, right?
And I
Yeah.
talk about that all the time lately.
Oh, yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
It's such a valuable thing in our lives.
It's
and
a currency.
it is a currency.
It is a currency. Money
Yes.
is money, but you've only got so much time, right? So
That's
do the
it.
things you want to do.
Especially
Yeah.
when you don't have too much of it for leisure activities or just even yourself. You got to be very pragmatic
Yeah.
with what you're doing with that time. And that includes who you spend it with.
For sure.